Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that almost everything you've been taught about success is a lie? They told you it's about talent, luck, or being in the right place at the right time. But the truth is, none of that guarantees anything. Success is not about what you have. It's about who you become. It's not about waiting for opportunity. It's about creating it. And the reason most people never reach it isn't because they aren't capable. It's because no one ever told them the price, the pain, and the power required to truly break through. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share will shatter the myths you've been fed and ignite a fire inside you that cannot be stopped. And success. Everyone talks about it. Everyone craves it. But here's the truth. Most of what you've been told about success is incomplete, watered down, or flat out wrong. They'll tell you about talent. They'll talk about intelligence. They'll emphasize luck or timing, but what they won't tell you is that success is less about the resources you have and more about the state you bring to every moment of your life. It's not about what's outside of you, it's about what's inside. And until you master that, you'll keep searching for answers in the wrong places. And success doesn't come from wishing or waiting. It doesn't show up just because you've worked hard either. Hard work is a component. Yes, but let me ask you something. How many people do you know who grind day after day and still remain stuck in the same place? They work hard, but they're not fulfilled. They're not free. They're not thriving. That's because success is not built on action alone. It's built on alignment. When your mind, your body, and your emotions are aligned with a vision that's bigger than your excuses, success becomes inevitable. And what they'll never tell you is that success demands obsession, not a casual interest, not a maybe one day, but a burning, relentless hunger that doesn't let you sleep until you've moved closer to it. The world tells you to be balanced, to take it easy, to not want too much. But if you buy into that, you'll never taste greatness. Balance is not what creates breakthroughs. Intensity does. Passion does. That fire in your gut that makes you get back up after every setback, that's what creates success. And here's another thing they won't tell you. Success requires sacrifice. Everyone wants the reward, but very few are willing to let go of what's holding them back. You can't cling to your comfort zone and expect to soar. You can't keep feeding your fears and expect to live in freedom. You can't surround yourself with mediocrity and expect to rise above it. At some point, you've got to decide, are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to do what others won't so you can live how others can't? And the world will tell you to play it safe. They'll tell you to wait until the timing is right, until the economy is better, until you feel ready. But the truth is, you'll never feel fully ready. Success is not about waiting for the conditions to be perfect. Success is about creating the conditions. It's about stepping forward even when you're uncertain, even when you're scared, and trusting that you'll figure it out as you go. Because here's the reality. The path to success is built on courage, not comfort. And what they won't tell you is that success isn't a destination. It's not some place you arrive at where suddenly everything feels perfect and complete. Success is a process. It's a state of growth. It's the willingness to evolve every single day, to stretch beyond what you thought was possible, and to keep chasing a vision that always calls you higher. The moment you think you've made it, you've already started dying inside. Because life isn't about a revo. It's about becoming. And let's talk about fear. They won't tell you that fear never goes away. People think successful individuals are fearless, but that's a lie. Fear is always there. It's biological. It's hardwired into you. The difference is that successful people don't bow down to fear. They don't let fear drive the car. They use it. They dance with it. They channel it into energy, into action, into fuel. Fear can paralyze you or it can propel you. It depends on what you do with it. And another thing they won't tell you is that success isn't about doing it alone. Society glorifies the lone wolf, the self-made individual who did it all without help. That's a myth. No one achieves massive success alone. Behind every great achievement is a network of people, mentors, coaches, peers, and sometimes even critics who push, challenge, and sharpen you. Success is built on relationships. Who you surround yourself with will determine how far you go. If you're constantly around people who complain, who doubt, who settle, you will absorb their energy. But if you surround yourself with people who demand more from themselves and from you, your standards rise, and with higher standards, success follows. And let's not ignore this. Success will test you. It will break you down before it builds you up. There will be moments where you'll question everything, your path, your worth, your ability. And in those moments, you'll be tempted to quit. But what they don't tell you is that those moments are the doorway. Those struggles are not signs you're failing. They're signs you're on the edge of a breakthrough. The universe doesn't hand greatness to the unprepared. It tests you to see if you're ready, if you're serious, if you're willing to endure what most people can't. And success also isn't about comparing yourself to others. The world will tell you to measure your progress against someone else's highlight reel. They'll have you chasing someone else's dream, living someone else's version of achievement. But that's a trap. True success is deeply P. personal. It's about designing a life that lights you up, not one that just looks good on the outside. If you're chasing approval, you'll never be free. The real measure of success is how alive you feel, how much impact you make, how aligned you are with your true self. And here's something else they won't say loudly enough. Success requires massive resilience. It's not the smartest, the strongest, or the most talented who make it to the top. It's the ones who refuse to stay down. Resilience is about rising every time you fall, adjusting every time you fail, and finding solutions when everything seems impossible. Success doesn't come from avoiding failure. It comes from embracing it, learning from it, and letting it sharpen you. And let's talk about energy. Success is an energy game. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if your energy is low, your results will be low. What they don't tell you is that success demands vitality. It demands that you take care of your body, your mind, your spirit, because when your energy is high, everything else flows. When you bring energy into a room, people feel it. When you bring certainty into a conversation, people trust it. When you bring passion into your work, the world responds. Energy is contagious, and the level of energy you bring will dictate the level of success you experience. And above all, they don't tell you this. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. You can achieve all the money, the recognition, the achievements, but if you're empty inside, you've lost. Fulfillment comes from living in alignment with your values, from contributing beyond yourself, from serving something bigger than your ego. Success that only feeds you will leave you starving, but success that uplifts others will fill you in ways nothing else can. And success is not just about what you get, it's about who you become. It's about shedding the layers of limitation, the stories you've been told, the excuses you've clung to, and stepping into the strongest, boldest, most authentic version of yourself. And that version of you is already inside. You just have to unleash it. And would you like me to expand this to make it closer to 1,000 words with deeper storytelling and examples while keeping the same Tony Robbins style intensity? And perfect. Let's continue seamlessly from where the first part ended, expanding with another 1,000 words in the same motivational style, flowing naturally without any closure statements. And you just have to unleash it. And unleashing it doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. Every single day, you're faced with decisions that either reinforce the old patterns that keep you stuck or ignite the momentum that pulls you forward. You don't need to wait for some miracle moment. You create the miracle moment when you decide to stop tolerating less than you deserve. When you get to the point where you say, enough, no more excuses, no more settling, no more hiding, that's when the shift begins. Success doesn't respond to lukewarm desire. It responds to a decision backed by consistent, relentless action. And what they'll never tell you is that success is not about information, it's about transformation. You can read all the books, take all the courses, attend every seminar, but unless you change who you are in the process, nothing sticks. Knowledge doesn't equal power. It only becomes power when you embody it, when you take it from your head and burn it into your nervous system until it becomes part of who you are. Success is not about what you know. It's about how you live what you know. And let's get real. Most people are addicted to their excuses. They'll defend their limitations with more passion than they defend their potential. They'll say they don't have the time, the money, the connections, the confidence. But here's the truth. It's never a lack of resources. It's a lack of resourcefulness. Success belongs to those who stop waiting for the perfect set of circumstances and start using everything they already have. When you stop asking, why is this happening to me, and start asking, how can I use this, everything changes. And the difference between the successful and the unsuccessful often comes down to one thing: standards. The successful raise their standards to a level where failure to follow through becomes unacceptable. They decide that comfort is not an option, that mediocrity is not an option, that playing small is not an option. When you raise your standards high enough, you don't even have to push yourself. The new standard pulls you forward. You don't need to discipline yourself to breathe because it's who you are. That's what happens when you shift your identity to align with the life you want. And let's be clear, success is not convenient. It doesn't show up at the perfect time in the perfect way. It's inconvenient, it disrupts you, it demands you stretch. That's why most people run from it. They want success to fit neatly into their schedule, to feel comfortable, to not cost too much. But real success is messy. It will keep you up at night. It will wake you up before dawn. It will ask you to confront your deepest fears and push beyond your greatest doubts. And the question is, are you willing to pay that price? And there's another truth they'll never tell you. Success is emotional. It's not just strategy, not just discipline, not just willpower. It's emotional fuel. Think about it. Why do some people who start with nothing, who face every imaginable obstacle, rise to the top while others with all the advantages remain stuck? It's emotion. It's hunger. It's drive. When you learn to harness your emotions, when you learn to use pain as a motivator instead of a limiter, when you learn to turn fear into focus, success becomes inevitable. The quality of your emotions dictates the quality of your life. And here's something that will shock you. Success is not fair. Life doesn't hand out trophies based on fairness. There are people less talented than you, less intelligent than you, with fewer resources than you, who are living the life you dream about. Why? Because they acted. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't let fear dictate their decisions. They stepped forward again and again until momentum carried them where they wanted to go. If you're waiting for fairness, you'll be waiting forever. Success doesn't reward those who wait. It rewards those who act with certainty in the face of uncertainty. And one of the greatest lies you've been told is that success is complicated. It's not. It's simple, but not easy. The formula is straightforward. Clarity, commitment, consistency. Get crystal clear on what you want. Commit to it with everything you have and stay consistent no matter how many times you stumble. The complexity comes from the stories you add, the doubts, the fears, the excuses. Strip those away and what's left is simple. Decide, act, adjust, repeat. And what they'll never admit is that most people fail because they're addicted to instant gratification. They want the reward now. They want the body without the workouts, the business without the risk, the wealth without the grind. But success lives on the other side of delayed gratification. It belongs to those who plant seeds and water them day after day, long before they ever see results. It belongs to those who fall in love with the process, not just the prize. Because when you're obsessed with the process, the prize becomes inevitable. And don't miss this, success is not about eliminating problems. Problems don't disappear when you succeed, they multiply. But here's the catch, you get better problems. At the bottom, your problems are about survival, paying bills, getting through the day, dealing with scarcity. At the top, your problems are about growth, scaling, multiplying impact, managing abundance. The size of your problems never shrinks. Your capacity to handle them grows. Success isn't about living a life without problems. It's about upgrading the quality of your problems. And they won't tell you that success is spiritual, not in the sense of religion, but in the sense that it requires something deeper than logic, deeper than intellect. Success demands connection to your purpose, to your highest self, to the part of you that knows you're here for more than just existing. When you're connected to that, setbacks don't break you, critics don't stop you, and failures don't define you. That connection gives you the strength to keep going when everyone else would quit. And here's the brutal truth. Success is lonely at times. There will be seasons where no one understands you, where people think you're crazy, where even your closest friends and family question your choices. But loneliness is not a sign you're lost. It's a sign you're carving a path few are willing to walk. Success requires you to break free from the herd, to stand out, to be different. And while that can feel isolating, it's also liberating, because when you finally break through, you'll realize you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out. And another thing they'll never tell you is that success requires relentless self-awareness. You can't conquer what you're unwilling to confront. If you're blind to your patterns, your triggers, your destructive habits, they will sabotage you every time. The successful are brutally honest with themselves. They don't sugarcoat their flaws. They don't justify their bad habits. They face them head on and transform them. Because success is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about becoming better than who you were yesterday again and again. And let's talk about persistence. Most people give up right before the breakthrough. They get tired. They get discouraged, they think it's not working, and so they quit. But what they didn't realize is that the breakthrough was one more step away. There are people less talented than you, less intelligent than you, with fewer resources than you, who are living the life you dream about. Why? Because they acted. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't let fear dictate their decisions. They stepped forward again and again until momentum carried them where they wanted to go. If you're waiting for fairness, you'll be waiting forever. Success doesn't reward those who wait. It rewards those who act with certainty in the face of uncertainty. And one of the greatest lies you've been told is that success is complicated. It's not. It's simple, but not easy. The formula is straightforward. Clarity, commitment, consistency. Get crystal clear on what you want. Commit to it with everything you have and stay consistent no matter how many times you stumble. The complexity comes from the stories you add, The doubts, the fears, the excuses. Strip those away, and what's left is simple. Decide, act, adjust, repeat. And what they'll never admit is that most people fail because they're addicted to instant gratification. They want the reward now. They want the body without the workouts, the business without the risk, the wealth without the grind. But success lives on the other side of delayed gratification. It belongs to those who plant seeds and water them day after day, long before they ever see results. It belongs to those who fall in love with the process, not just the prize. Because when you're obsessed with the process, the prize becomes inevitable. And don't miss this, success is not about eliminating problems. Problems don't disappear when you succeed, they multiply. But here's the catch, you get better problems. At the bottom, your problems are about survival, paying bills, getting through the day, dealing with scarcity. At the top, your problems are about growth, scaling, multiplying impact, managing abundance. The size of your problems never shrinks. Your capacity to handle them grows. Success isn't about living a life without problems. It's about upgrading the quality of your problems. And they won't tell you that success is spiritual, not in the sense of religion, but in the sense that it requires something deeper than logic, deeper than intellect. Success demands connection to your purpose, to your highest self, to the part of you that knows you're here for more than just existing. When you're connected to that, setbacks don't break you, critics don't stop you, and failures don't define you. That connection gives you the strength to keep going when everyone else would quit. And here's the brutal truth. Success is lonely at times. There will be seasons where no one understands you, where people think you're crazy, where even your closest friends and family question your choices. But loneliness is not a sign you're lost. It's a sign you're carving a path few are willing to walk. Success requires you to break free from the herd, to stand out, to be different. And while that can feel isolating, it's also liberating because when you finally break through, you'll realize you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out. And another thing they'll never tell you is that success requires relentless self-awareness. You can't conquer what you're unwilling to confront. If you're blind to your patterns, your triggers, your destructive habits, they will sabotage you every time. The successful are brutally honest with themselves. They don't sugarcoat their flaws. They don't justify their bad habits. They face them head on and transform them. Because success is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about becoming better than who you were yesterday again and again. And let's talk about persistence. Most people give up right before the breakthrough. They get tired. They get discouraged, they think it's not working, and so they quit. But what they didn't realize is that the breakthrough was one more step away. Success doesn't reward the fastest starter, it rewards the one who refuses to stop. Every great success story is built on persistence. Not brilliance, not perfection, persistence. The willingness to get up one more time, to try one more angle, to fight one more day. That's the real secret they'll never emphasize enough. And the truth is, success is available to anyone, but it's not for everyone. Because not everyone is willing to do what it takes. Not everyone is willing to sacrifice comfort, to face rejection, to endure failure. But for those who are willing, for those who are hungry, relentless, unshakable, success is inevitable. Because success doesn't come to the most talented. It doesn't come to the most privileged. It comes to the most committed. And then finally, what they'll never tell you is that success is about legacy. It's not about what you accumulate. It's about what you contribute. It's not about how much you get. It's about how much you give. Success is not measured by the size of your bank account, but by the size of the impact you make, the lives you touch, the difference you create. At the end of the day, the cars, the houses, the trophies will fade, but the legacy you leave will echo long after you're gone. And got it, I'll continue right from where the second part ended. The legacy you leave will echo long after you're gone, and expand the speech by another 1,000 words in the same motivational, high-energy style, without conclusions, names, or headings. And the legacy you leave will echo long after you're gone. And that echo isn't built in one moment. It's built in every choice you make, every habit you reinforce, every standard you live by. What they won't tell you is that success is shaped in the small, invisible moments when no one is watching. It's not just the big decisions that matter. It's the quiet ones, the daily rituals, the times. You choose discipline over distraction, growth over comfort, courage over convenience. The world sees the results, but they never see the price you paid in private. Success is earned in the dark before it is celebrated in the light. And think about this. Everyone wants to shine, but very few are willing to polish themselves long enough to reflect greatness. Success is not about one big leap. It's about thousands of small steps stacked over time, each one building momentum, each one compounding until the world looks at you and calls it overnight success. But there are no overnight successes. There are only people who worked for years in silence, who faced rejection after rejection, who kept showing up long after the crowd stopped clapping. And what they won't tell you is that success requires a deep relationship with pain. Not the pain that breaks you, but the pain that builds you. The pain of sacrifice, the pain of discipline, the pain of stretching beyond what you thought you could endure. Most people run from pain, but the successful lean into it. They understand that pain is a teacher, a signal, a forge. The body grows through resistance, and so does your spirit. Every challenge, every setback, every sleepless night is sculpting you into someone stronger, sharper, more resilient. The question is not whether you'll face pain, it's whether you'll let it shape you or shatter you. And here's another truth. Success is not about luck. It's about preparation colliding with opportunity. People look at those at the top and say, they were lucky. But what they don't see are the years of preparation, the relentless practice, the times when no one believed but they kept moving. When opportunity finally showed up, they were ready. Luck is not random. It's manufactured by those who stay prepared even when opportunity seems far away. If you're waiting for luck, you'll stay fighting. But if you prepare as if the opportunity is right around the corner, when it comes, you'll seize it before anyone else even notices. And success also demands that you rewire how you view failure. They won't tell you this, but failure is inevitable. You will fail, and not just once, again and again. But failure is not the opposite of success. It's the foundation of it. Every failure carries feedback, and feedback is fuel. The only true failure is refusing to learn, refusing to adapt, refusing to try again. The most successful people in the world are also the ones who failed the most because they were willing to take more shots, more risks, more attempts. If you fear failure, you'll live small. But if you embrace failure as feedback, you'll grow unstoppable. And don't be fooled. Success isn't glamorous all the time. They won't show you the exhaustion, the doubts, the days when nothing works, the nights when your mind screams to quit. They'll show you the highlight reel, but not the grind. But if you embrace the grind, if you fall in love with the process instead of just chasing the prize, you'll find a deeper power. Because real success isn't about the applause. It's about who you become in the struggle. That transformation, that evolution, that inner strength, that's the real prize. And another thing they'll never highlight is the role of decisions. Success is a series of decisions made consistently in alignment with your vision. Big or small, every decision is a vote for the life you're building. Most people drift through life letting circumstances make their decisions for them. But the successful, they take control. They decide. They commit. They cut off the option of going back. That's what the word decision really means, to cut off. Success comes when you cut off the option of failure, of quitting, of settling, and you say, this is who I am now. This is what I'm committed to, and nothing less will do. And here's the paradox. They won't tell you that success demands humility, not the kind of humility that makes you play small, but the humility to know you're never done, you're never finished, you're never above learning. The moment you think you know it all, you stop growing. And when you stop growing, you start dying. Success belongs to those who stay hungry, who stay curious, who treat every day as an opportunity to sharpen their edge. The giants of success are still students. They study, they listen, they adapt. That's why they keep rising while others plateau. And success is also about ownership. They won't tell you this because it's uncomfortable. It's much easier to blame the economy, the market, your boss, your parents, your circumstances. But the truth is, as long as you blame, you remain powerless. The moment you take total ownership, radical ownership, your life changes. Because if you created the problem, you can create the solution. If you're responsible for your limitations, you're also responsible for your liberation. Success comes when you stop pointing fingers and start asking, what can I do right now to change this? And don't underestimate this. Success is noisy on the outside, but quiet on the inside. They won't tell you that some of the most successful people don't chase the spotlight. They chase mastery. They're not performing for applause. They're performing for excellence. Success is not about proving the world wrong. It's about proving yourself right. When you anchor into that, the noise outside, critics, doubters, haters, fades into background static. You stop living for their approval and start living for your own standard. That's freedom. And they also won't tell you that success is seasonal. Just like nature, your life will go through winters and summers, droughts and harvests. There will be seasons of planting where you see no results, seasons of pruning where things fall away, seasons of growth where everything blossoms. But too many people quit in the winter. They stop just before the spring. Success requires you to trust the process, to keep showing up through every season, knowing that if you plant in faith, water with persistence, and endure with patience, the harvest will come. And then let's talk about risk. Success is built on risk, not reckless risk, but calculated, courageous risk. They won't tell you that staying safe is the biggest risk of all, because safety leads to stagnation, and stagnation kills dreams. Every breakthrough in history came from someone willing to risk failure, risk rejection, risk ridicule. Playing it safe never changed the world. Playing it safe never unleashed greatness. If you're not risking, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're not succeeding. And another piece they won't tell you is that success is contagious. When you step into your power, when you chase your vision, when you elevate your life, you give permission to others to do the same. Your energy, your commitment, your results, they inspire. You don't just succeed for yourself. You succeed to set a standard, to light a path, to show others what's possible. And that ripple effect, that's where true impact lives. And finally, they'll never tell you that success is fragile. Not fragile in the sense that it disappears easily, but fragile in the sense that it must be maintained, nurtured, renewed. You can't coast on yesterday's victories. You can't let today's success make you complacent, because the moment you stop growing, you start declining. Success is not a one-time event. It's a lifestyle. It's choosing every day to step up, to stay hungry, to keep pushing the edge of what's possible. And perfect. I'll continue exactly from where the third part ended. Success is not a one-time event. It's a lifestyle. It's choosing every day to step up, to stay hungry, to keep pushing the edge of what's possible. And expand with another 1,000 words in the Sam. A relentless motivational style. And it's choosing every day to step up, to stay hungry, to keep pushing the edge of what's possible. Because success doesn't care what you did yesterday. It only responds to what you're willing to do today. The past is a lesson, the future is a vision, but the present is the only arena where success is forged. What they won't tell you is that success isn't some grand moment of destiny waiting for you down the road. It's being created in this exact second, in the decisions you make right now. Every yes and every no shapes the path you walk. And most people think success is something you chase. But the truth is, success is something you attract by becoming the kind of person who commands it. You don't chase success, you grow into it. You elevate your mindset, you sharpen your skills, you expand your emotional resilience, and suddenly opportunities that once passed you by now land directly in your lap. The game is not about trying to grab success. It's about raising yourself to the level where success can't ignore you. And they won't tell you how much discipline matters. Discipline isn't punishment, it's liberation. It's the ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. Because let's be real, there will be days when you don't feel like getting up early, when you don't feel like putting in the work, when you don't feel like showing up for your vision. And it's in those moments that discipline saves you. Discipline keeps the promise you made to yourself long after the mood you made it in has faded. Without discipline, dreams dissolve into wishes. But with discipline, you can build anything. And here's a hard truth. Success requires obsession with growth. If you're not growing, you're dying. Stagnation is the silent killer of dreams. Too many people achieve a little progress and then coast. They think you've arrived. But success is not a place you arrive at. It's a constant climb. The view keeps changing. The terrain keeps shifting. And the climb never ends. The moment you stop climbing, the moment you stop demanding more of yourself, gravity pulls you down. Success demands that you live at the edge of your potential, constantly asking, what's next? How can I expand further? How can I give more? And they also won't tell you that success comes with pressure, tremendous pressure. And that pressure is a privilege. The weight on your shoulders isn't there to crush you. It's there to shape you. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Muscles are built under resistance. Greatness is forged under stress. If you run from pressure, you run from power. If you embrace it, if you lean into it, if you learn to carry it with strength and certainty, then that pressure becomes the very thing that propels you forward. And let's not pretend. Success will test every part of you. It will test your patience, your resilience, your confidence, your relationships, your faith. It will put you in situations where you'll wonder if it's worth it. But what they don't tell you is that these tests aren't there to stop you. They're there to prepare you. Every obstacle you face is shaping you for the next level. Every difficulty is strengthening a muscle you'll need for the next battle. If you can endure the test, you'll prove that you're ready for the triumph. And they won't tell you that success is noisy at the bottom and silent at the top. At the bottom, everyone talks. People debate, argue, complain, compare. But at the top, it's quiet. It's not about talking. It's about executing. It's about producing results, not excuses. The successful don't spend their time in endless chatter about what they'll do. They spend their energy doing it. Words don't move the world, results do. And here's something most people miss. Success is rooted in vision. Not just any vision, but a vision so vivid, so compelling, so magnetic that it pulls you forward even when you feel exhausted. If your vision doesn't stir your soul, it won't survive the storms. The successful don't just set goals. They create visions so powerful they can feel them, see them, taste them long before they arrive. That vision becomes their compass, their anchor, their fire. Without vision, effort becomes empty. With vision, effort becomes inevitable. And success will demand that you let go of who you were to step into who you must become. They won't tell you how uncomfortable that transformation is. You'll outgrow old habits, old beliefs, and sometimes even old relationships. The identity you built to survive at one level won't serve you at the next. And letting go can feel like loss, but it's not loss, it's evolution. You're not losing yourself, you're discovering a stronger, more expansive version of yourself. And if you resist that evolution, you'll stay trapped in the life you've outgrown. And another thing they won't tell you is that success demands consistency more than intensity. Anyone can get excited for a week, anyone can work hard for a month, but success doesn't come to the sprinters, it comes to the marathoners. It's not what you do occasionally that shapes your destiny, it's what you do consistently. The small repeated actions, the daily habits, the rituals, the standards you live by every single day, that's what compounds into greatness. Consistency is the silent force that separates the dreamers from the doers. And make no mistake, success requires courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite fear. They won't tell you how much fear you'll feel along the way. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. But courage is what transforms fear into fuel. Courage is what makes you pick up the phone when rejection feels unbearable. Courage is what makes you take the leap when the safety net isn't guaranteed. Success doesn't demand that you're fearless. It demands that you're courageous enough to act anyway. And success will demand that you manage your inner dialogue, because what you tell yourself matters more than what anyone else says. They won't tell you how much your internal language shapes your external reality. If your self-talk is weak, your actions will be weak. If your self-talk is powerful, your actions will be powerful. The successful program their minds daily. They feed themselves with words of strength, of certainty, of belief, because they know their mind is the command center of their destiny. And here's a truth that shocks many. Success requires patience. We live in a world of speed, instant messages, instant purchases, instant gratification. But success isn't instant. It's brewed slowly, like fine wine. You can't microwave mastery. You can't rush greatness. If you're unwilling to be patient, you'll sabotage yourself by quitting too soon. Patience is the ability to hold the vision in your mind while working relentlessly every day, trusting that the results will come in their time. Impatience kills more dreams than failure ever will. And they also won't tell you that success is simple, but simplicity is hard. Everyone complicates the path, chasing shiny objects, switching strategies, searching for shortcuts. But the truth is, success often comes down to doing the simple things consistently at a level of excellence. Simple doesn't mean easy. Simple requires focus, and focus requires discipline. Most people fail not because it's complicated, but because they don't stick with the simple steps long enough to see the compounding results. And success demands gratitude. That's the part they rarely emphasize. Without gratitude, success feels empty. Without gratitude, every achievement feels like it's not enough, like you're still chasing something that stays out of reach. Gratitude doesn't make you complacent. It makes you powerful. It grounds you. It fuels you. It reminds you that you're already living in abundance. And that when you live in gratitude, you attract more to be grateful for. Gratitude turns achievement into fulfillment. And finally, they won't tell you that success isn't about what you do occasionally. It's about who you become permanently. Success is identity. Once you see yourself as the kind of person who doesn't quit, who doesn't settle, who always finds a way, then no matter what life throws at you, you will rise. Identity drives behavior, and behavior creates results. Change your identity and your entire destiny shifts.